Lagi.
Regarding Greece?
Well, I hope common sense prevails. I mean, I can't see we're stopping these differences. We're arguing the same thing. I don't think that there's a difference between ESM bailout funds and IMF bailout funds. Both are sacrosanct. And if there's profiling, and we all agree that there should be some profiling, that has to be conditional, of course.
But do you think there'll be a decision today, actually? A final
Yeah, I
decision?
would like so. I would hope so.
Was rausgekommen?
Der Herr Dijsselbloem hat Priorität.
Can you tell us what happened? What's the conclusion?
On the package of all these major reforms that Greece had committed to last summer, we have now a full agreement. A lot of legislative work already being done by the Greek government, and the institutions will do a final check on that to look at the last legislative work and to see whether that's all in agreement. Part of that, of course, is also the contingency mechanism to make sure that Greece stays on the fiscal path. The ESM will be able to endorse the supplemental MOU and then approve the disbursement of the second tranche of this program. The figure that we have outlined for that is 10.3 billion to be dispersed in several disbursements.
Above all, this opens the way for a return of the confidence that is so essential for a lasting economic recovery in Greece, which is our common purpose. So yes, it is a very important moment in that long and sometimes difficult story.
We found the agreement for the disbursement of the second tranche under this current program. Second tranche will amount to 10.3 billion euro. This will follow the first tranche of 21 billion euro, which was disbursed, as you remember, during September to December of last year. Greece now needs to implement all the outstanding prior actions. Once this is done, the ESM member states will go through their national procedures in order to give a mandate to their board members to take the necessary legal decisions in the ESM Board of Directors.
We are willing to recommend, management and staff is willing to recommend to our board that this is a staff level agreement that can form the basis for IMF support, provided that before the end of the year, provided that the revised debt sustainability analysis that we will be producing in the coming months before then will suggest that the measures that are on the table will deliver the necessary debt relief.
Grazie mille. Ciao, grazie. Ciao.
First and foremost, it was a very long night in Greece.
Yes.
Are you satisfied with the result?
Yes, well, it was a question of finding a compromise between the IMF and the Commission and ourselves. I mean, this was at stake. It wasn't as much as disagreement with Greece. Greece, at least on paper, did what was required of them. They went once, twice to the Parliament, legislated. Of course, it's still to be seen that they implement what they've promised. However, the issue was not with Greece.
Is it the solution?
Look, I don't think anybody has a solution, and nobody can guarantee anything. I think it's a question of month in, month out to see the progress being carried out. It's no use projecting surpluses, and so on. I mean, it's a it's a long-term solution which you have to monitor very frequently, and that's why the conditions are there, and even the profiling itself at the very end of the program is also conditional by the Eurogroup once they are satisfied that things are to that stage where all they require now is some lessening of the debt burden, which we believe we can do with profiling.
With regards to today's meetings, discuss taxation. Malta has raised issues as well. Now the whole thing has gone to June. Do you think there'll be a solution by then?
Now, first of all, we're pleased that many countries had similar issues and concerns. I mean, the biggest concern of everybody is that we should target tax abuse and not legitimate companies who want to go about their business in the European Union, especially at this time. So one should avoid collateral damage. That's number one. Then obviously there are these items, interest limitation, CFCs, and all these phenomena and structures which together we have to ensure. Now compromises have to be sought. There are the hardliners and those who believe that Europe should be competitive even at the sake of allowing a little bit of business which could be doubtful. You have to find a compromise, and I believe that the compromise would be by sticking as close as can be to the OECD. The OECD is a very thorough work, and it should be a guideline that going beyond it would really risk Europe's competitiveness.
Is postponing to June a credible deadline?
That's not a question of postponing. There's more work to be done. Let's hope it's done sooner than later. But at least on the ATAD, I think it has to. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, we're close, but common sense should prevail.
Thank you.
The main topic, at least in terms of the time spent on it and the progress made, certainly is anti-tax avoidance package. We now are close to an agreement, and I am confident that we should be able to reach that in the June ECOFIN Council. We've agreed Council conclusions today that cover three broad areas. First, on urgent and medium-term measures to be taken to fight VAT fraud and to tackle the VAT gap. Second area is on compliance simplification measures for micro enterprises and SMEs. Here we expect receiving legislative proposals from the Commission in the context of the digital single market strategy. Third, we provided the Commission political guidance on VAT rates, where ministers endorsed the idea of more flexibility for member states. On the implementation of the banking union, full transposition by all member states is almost delivered. 3 member states are in the final phases, and they have told us that in the coming weeks and at the latest mid-June, they will do the last bits and pieces of the legislation. Finally, on the European semester, we adopted conclusions on the progress in the implementation of the 2015 country-specific recommendation, including the in-depth reviews for 18 member states.
Today we discussed 2 proposals in particular, the anti-tax avoidance package and the VAT action plan. On tax avoidance, Commission proposal is an ambitious one. It specifically calls for the OECD measures to be implemented jointly at the EU level and even to go beyond this. We are also pleased that Council has given its strong political support to the Commission's proposal on setting up a common EU list of non-cooperative jurisdictions and coordinated defensive measures together with the OECD. The Commission is working at full speed on this. We hope Member States can deliver clear criteria for third countries that do not live up to the internationally agreed standards by September. Finally, the Council today adopted conclusions on the Commission's country reports, which is the Commission's analysis of the economic and social situation in Member States. The efforts and ensuing discussions with national authorities and other stakeholders provide basis for a country-specific recommendations, which the Commission proposed on 18th of May. ECOFIN is expected to discuss these in more detail in the next meeting in June.